Wendy Williams finally breaks her silence on her conservatorship. She's being taken advantage of. Wendy Williams finally breaks her silence on her conservatorship. She's being taken advantage of. Okay, guys, so let's talk about how a police report was taken out on Wendy's niece, Alex, for taking her out to dinner. But before we get into all of that, I want to go back and talk about the key players in all of this so we know it's just not Sabrina Morrissey that the public should keep their eye on. It's a whole conspiracy. So let's go back through it. Let me get over to my notes here. Now, the first person on this conspiracy list is Wells Fargo, the bank as an institution. They are just shady, shady, shady.
All right, Wells Fargo, if you didn't see, they recently just got hit with a $3.7 billion total fine and penalty for basically defrauding consumers, opening up false checking accounts, overdraft fees that shouldn't be charged, just basically just draining people for money, one little draft fee and overcharge fee at a time. So here's the thing though, they got fined $3.7 billion. I guarantee they made more than that. And so here's the issue with these banks is they're going to look at, if we break the law, what's it going to cost? If we can make more than that, we're going to do it anyways. Okay. And at that point, isn't that $3.7 billion just a bribe? You just pay the SEC off and you can do whatever the hell you want. So I don't bank with them. I actually recently just switched away from Wells Fargo. I didn't even know this story till today. I did that by happenstance, but this is why you shouldn't put money in banks.
So that's the first part of the conspiracy. You have a shady bank that's stealing from everybody. Okay, they are stealing from everybody, especially African Americans. We'll get into that later. So you have a shady bank, Wells Fargo, and they have a financial advisor that works for them that goes by the name Lori Schiller. None of this would happen without Lori Schiller. And she's done it to other people. So when she was working as Wendy Williams' financial advisor, and Wendy was the first person to get suspicious of Lori Schiller. She starts saying, something's not right with this woman. She makes me feel uncomfortable. So Wendy herself asked for a copy of her bank statements. So Wendy Williams was the very first person that was suspicious of Lori Schiller. Okay, now, while this is all going on, Wendy is still working on her TV show. She's also dealing with the fact that Kevin Sr. has had a baby named Journey with the side piece, and she's just not handling it well. Okay, so it's no secret. She turns to booze and alcohol to help her cope. She's showing up to work every day drunk. This is when DJ Booth was trying to hide the secret from the audience because he had worked with her a very long time, and everybody knows what happened with Kevin. And so all the producers there, the staff, felt helpless. They're watching Wendy fall apart. Okay, so I believe, let me go to my notes. On July 21st, is when Wendy goes out on a hiatus. The drinking, the drugging was at an all-time high. She couldn't work anymore, right? So at first they said, she's on a hiatus. We're going to give her time to deal with Graves' disease. Do you remember all of this stuff? But really, her addiction was at its peak. It was very, very high. But even at her peak, she was still very much aware of her money, okay? But it would be days and days of her being out of it. I don't know how to describe it, just being out of it. So she taped her last show on July 2021. This is when DJ Booth was still around her. There was another phone call placed to 911 where they came and they took her to a psychiatric facility. Okay, that's what they do. I don't know if it's called a 5150 hold, but she had a very bad incident. Now I know what happened on this incident. We had talked to DJ Booth about it. It's very bad, and we'll just leave it at that. So they sent her off to a psych ward. Now, while we're all worried about Wendy Williams, Lori Schiller was making a plan, because if you ask me, she was already stealing from Wendy. So when Wendy asked for a copy of her bank statements, she goes into, I don't know what you call it, conspiracy mode. That's what you call it. She goes into conspiracy mode. We've got to figure out a way where I don't get caught stealing from Wendy, and I have to develop a plan where I can keep her money coming in full time. Because that's what I do. I'm talking in third person like Lori would. That's what I do. I'm a damn thief that steals from people. So while Wendy is in the psych ward sobering up, okay, because you've been boozing and popping pills for days, Lori devises this plan. So the first person she reaches out to is Wendy's manager at the time, Bernie Young, okay? And he comes on as her financial advisor also. So Lori goes to the bank and tells the bank that Wendy is incapable of handling her money. Look at her right now. She's in a psych ward versus a rehab. So, she was very clever in what she was doing. She's in a psych ward. And before she comes out, we want you guys to freeze her account, and we're going to make Bernie also a financial advisor and a guardian. And while we're trying to make Bernie a financial advisor and a guardian, we're also going to bring in Will Selsby, basically to be her babysitter. Now, this was her jeweler. And then all of a sudden she's running around town with the jeweler and who's now the manager. But so that's the third person. Okay. We've got we got Wells Fargo, we got Schiller, we got Bernie, and now we have a ex jeweler named Will Selsby, and he's going to be with her every step of the way. He's going to watch her every move. Now, another person that Lori brought on board, probably the most important person, will be a doctor from Cornell Medical Center. Now, I know who the doctor is. No one's really releasing his name right now, but I can assure you later on down the line, when he gets out of this conservatorship, he will be named in the indictment. Now, a reason that he's so important is because this thing wouldn't have went down without him. We need some kind of medical reason as to why we're doing this. So he plays a very, very big part in this. And someone said to me before, a doctor wouldn't do that. Are you kidding me? You have good doctors and you have crooked doctors. I mean, please, not all doctors are honest and good people. That's why you got to be careful. You got to pick your doctor very carefully, because they could be crooks and quacks just like anyone else. So when Wendy gets back from the psych ward versus coming back from rehab, they send her to the psych ward because Schiller knows what's going on. Okay, so when she gets back, she says, "Oh, I don't mind hanging around my old friend Will Selsby, who loves to pump me up full of booze, but there's just no damn way Bernie's going to be my conservator. Not in this lifetime, never." So she goes to the internet and she tells us that people are, what's the word I'm looking for? Forming a group to go against her, and we don't believe her. We think she's just drunk.
My thing is that I've been asking questions about my money. And when I began asking questions about my money, suddenly Lori Schiller has got no response regarding my money. I want my money. This is not fair. And Wells Fargo has no questions and answers with regarding my money. This is not fair. And Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping me away from my money. This is not right. And this is not fair. And this guy named Bernie Young, I know for a fact that Bernie Young used my American Express card to hire an attorney to file a petition against me. That was done with my American Express card. Bernie Young, you're no good. And this is not fair at all, you know? And then there's this person, a former doctor, okay, had medical information about me that I never even got. It was sent over to Lori Schiller. So I haven't gotten the stuff. I fired the doctor. And again, all I want to know is, where is my money? This is not right. And certainly, this is not fair. This is not fair. You know? Wells Fargo has used all this stuff to create the guardianship over me. This is not right. And certainly this is not fair. The New York court system is, without evidence, they're being weird to me, this court system. Without evidence, they took all this information and continued with what's going on with me based on what Wells Fargo is doing. This is not fair. This is not fair, you know? And the New York court is treating me like they did in, do you remember Kung Fu Judge case? Do you remember that Kung Fu Judge case? That's not right, and that is not fair. Lori Schiller, Bernie Young, and Wells Fargo. Please let me have access to my money. This is not right. And again, this is not fair. Have a pleasant day. Thank you.
Now, after Wendy goes to her own social media and lets the public knows what's going on, they realize that Will Selsby really has to amp up his job, which is being by her side every minute of the day. He takes her to clubs, which means more booze, drugs. He lets her drink, he encourages it, and then he starts to buy it for her.
It's funny you ask that question because I've met Wendy in multiple different facets. You know, I've met her in the New York scene. I was being out, partying. I was commissioned to do jewelry for her. And then we just developed a relationship and a bond from there. It went from friendship to management, which was after her divorce with her ex-husband.
You speaking to the world, though, bro.
Yeah,
Why was you in the tabloids?
Well, I think it was something pertaining to Wendy.
Wendy Williams.
Wendy Williams, I'm sorry.
what
Wendy
happened with
Williams. I don't think anything happened to her. I just think people just had an opinion because Wendy's such a strong figure.
What that had to do with you, though, my boy?
I manage Wendy Williams.
Oh, you managed
Okay,
her.
so you still manage her now.
I still manage her now.
Okay.
So in between all of her drinking and drugging, Wendy was adamant that she did not want to work with Bernie Young. So out goes Bernie and in comes Sabrina, who is, no, I wouldn't say the deadliest, the second most dangerous of them all. She is dangerous. She's a pro at this. She's done it before. And she is hell-bent on staying in that position.
Wow, y'all gotta get in here and see this. Wendy Williams' guardian is being accused of mishandling funds in a $30 million lawsuit. Since the premiere of Wendy's documentary, people have been wondering who the judge was in this case and who the actual guardian is. And after people start to do a little bit of digging, they found that Wendy's current guardian was in a lot of hot water in 2009 when she was accused of coercing a man into an oppressive conservatorship. Now, according to the lawsuit, in 2009, New York attorney Matt F., the plaintiff in this case, was representing a man named Jose. Jose was awarded $5.5 million in a personal injury claim lawsuit. Now, an associate to Matt F., who was representing Jose, approached Jose. Now, after Matt F. associate approached his client, Jose, he began to tell Jose that Matt was mishandling his case. Now, apparently after approaching Jose, this associate of Matt F. named Herbert told Jose that his case would not be finalized until he consented to a guardianship that he did not want or need.
And not only did the public find out that Sabrina has a history of this, they also found out that she was friends with the judge over the case. The judge's name is Lisa Sokoloff, and Lisa was under current investigation for selling conservatorships. Yeah, if you gave her enough money, she will give you the conservatorship.
Now the truth is finally starting to come to light. The judge who ruled in Wendy Williams' guardianship case was previously investigated for granting guardianship appointments to people who donated to her Supreme Court election campaign fund. Now, the petition was filed by Wells Fargo in 2022. And that is an important date to remember. Wendy's son, Kevin Jr., was taking care of her at the time, but after Wells Fargo filed the petition, lawyers for the bank painted him out to be an unfit guardian and accused him of frivolously spending money. The judge presiding over the case appointed a professional guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, and threatened Kevin Jr. with kidnapping charges if he didn't hand his mother over. Now, this judge is allegedly Lisa Sokoloff. Now, the Neighborhood Talk did some digging, and they found out that she was previously investigated by ABC 7 New York News after a paper trail revealed that she was granting guardianship to people who donated to her Supreme Court election campaign. Allegedly, Judge Lisa Sokoloff received $5,720 in campaign donations from 2019 to 2022 from 20 guardianship lawyers, law firms, or people who deal in guardianship cases. In addition to taking their money, she granted those people 62 appointments in 2022. Now, at the moment, it's a little unclear on if Sabrina, which is Wendy's guardian, donated to this judge's campaign fund, but I feel like this is very interesting in the lieu of recent events. Now, as previously reported, we saw with our own eyes that Wendy was in better health when she was with her son. Since then, her family has claimed that her health has taken a sharp decline and they haven't been able to reach her since Judge Sokoloff removed Kevin as the guardian.
Now, let me tell you, people, when the public stepped in and all the bloggers started doing their background checks and, doing what we do, we found out a lot. Now that $30 million lawsuit that he was talking about in 2009, it was dismissed for insufficient evidence, which makes absolutely no sense. That just proved that Sabrina had friends in high places. We also found out that she is, and let me get this right, I don't want to get it wrong. She has served as the vice president of the Women's Bar Association. She also acted as treasurer. Like, you're dealing with other people's money, and secretary, and she's a member of the board. This explains a lot, people. Either she's going to pay you off, or you're her friend, or who knows, she might be blackmailing people. I mean, she has friends in very high places. Or if they're not friends, let's say they're associates that's been paid off. That explains a lot. It also explains how that 30 million lawsuit got dismissed. I read that. I think it was a 25-page complaint. No, she was supposed to be sanctioned and disbarred. But miraculously, the case was dropped. And as far as Judge Lisa Sokoloff, she was under investigation all the way up until 2023. For about 2-3 years, she was under investigation, and she's still under investigation. Nothing happened to her for selling conservatorships. This is why right now their plans are backfiring. And they're backfiring for a couple of reasons. Number one, they never, ever, ever expected Wendy to get sober. They just didn't. They thought, okay, she's nice and drunk and dealing with her substance abuse problems. We don't have to worry about her anymore. They eased up. They also never counted on Wendy missing her family, which included her son. She started reaching out to family, specifically niece Alex and her sister Wanda, who is a retired attorney. Another thing they never ever expected was Wendy Williams to get in touch with some of her, I wouldn't say bloggers, high-powered friends, which would be Harvey Levin of TMZ and Charlemagne the God of The Breakfast Club. I'm telling you guys, this was a move that put fear in their hearts, okay? Because she has access to the public. And once we start hearing the Charlemagne interview, we were like, nothing wrong with Wendy. She sound all right to me. And then TMZ doing interviews with her through the window, isolated her, put her in an Alzheimer's unit where everybody is really dealing with Alzheimer's, but she wasn't. She was allowed to tell TMZ what was going on, and then they interviewed her through the window. Oh my gosh, these people are losing their minds. This is explaining their erratic behavior. They said that when Wendy went in front of the judge was absolutely furious that she had contacted outside sources that had platforms of their own of the millions. I mean, just TMZ and Charlemagne the Breakfast Club, they reached millions of people. They said the judge was furious. She threatened to put Wendy in a stricter place where she would really be under surveillance 24 hours a day. She doesn't want anybody to take their eyes off of Wendy Williams. They also don't want her around her family. That's why they filed a police report, because Alex came over and took her to dinner. A police report? They really have to be careful what they do now, because TMZ was just questioning, why was the judge so mad? I don't know what they're going to do, people, but I know they are panicked right now. Very, very panicked. Number one, they just can't drop everything and let it go because some crimes have been committed here. Okay. And the public is well aware of what's going on. Major platforms, TMZ, Wendy started going to all kinds of platforms. Now let's listen to Wendy in her own words as to what happened last night when she just went to dinner with her niece. I'm telling you, they're scared that they're going to whisk her away and everyone's going to say nothing's wrong and that these people need to be in jail. That's what they're scared of. But take a listen.
What happened at the hospital? Are you okay?
I want to talk.
Are you okay?
This is my niece, Alex.
Okay. How do you feel about the Free Wendy movement?
How do you feel about it? Fabulous.
Fabulous.
So, our recent events have been unbelievable. Talk about
We came back from dinner and apparently police were called, but I was told that at some point police were called because the coterie here was saying allegedly that I took my aunt from this facility and whisked her away without any sort of confirmation or approval, which according to everything that we have learned in terms of this whole situation, wondering exactly how that correlates with the statements that the Guardian has made that Wendy is able to come and go as she pleases,
right,
and that there are no family visits that are blocked.
Clearly, they are lying to me when they say I can go out and do what I want to do. This is my niece, Alex. She just flew in from Miami, okay? I just came from the hospital. So we are going out to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate what? I don't know. I'm from the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And of life. Right. And this is what has been done to us.
But we're good. We're back.
We're good.
We're back in one piece.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Now let's talk about Lori Schiller scrubbing herself from the internet. There's absolutely no digital footprint of Lori Schiller on the internet. I mean, I really do want to know, if you don't have anything to hide, why are you scrubbed from the internet? It sounds like you're hiding, ma'am. No pictures, and you're a financial advisor. How are you going to get more clients with no pictures on the internet? Don't you want your bio out there? All we have is this little picture right here, and that's it. She is scrubbed from the internet. Even pictures of her home has been scrubbed from the internet. Now, we know where she lives, and we've seen pictures, but we didn't get them from the internet. Pictures of her home is scrubbed off the internet. Now, that's really weird, because when you take your picture of your home off the internet, it stays off forever. So if you decide to sell your house later on down the line, you can't put the pictures back for the people to come and look at the house because you took it off a long time ago. You can take it off. Everybody has a right to have their picture on, or you can take it off. But when you take it off, it's taken off forever. And that's usually bad if you plan on selling your home. So it just screams guilt to me. It just screams guilt. But, you know, I have a feeling that when you try to hide, in the dark, everything comes out in the light. I feel like we're reaching to the end of this conservatorship, and hopefully Wendy can live her life again. I do think all the money's gone from the conservatorship, but she's Wendy Williams. She can make it back, especially if she covers the Diddy trial. We all want to know what she has to say about the Diddy trial, because she was the very first person to tell us about Diddy's extravagant lifestyle. She said he was, how you doing? You know what that means, right? She said he was by a long time ago. He sent that group Toto over there to beat her up. I just have a feeling that it's coming to an end, but that's just how I feel about it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Until next time, bye for now.